And if the police come out and say, hey, this is now a riot, you need to disperse, and you don't disperse, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. All right, now in my opinion, the police should be able to use non-lethals against you, pepper spray, CS gas, what have you. Clubs, fists, tasers, dogs, horses, whatever it takes to get you to disperse or be arrested. All right, everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. I always get all these requests for me to keep doing hate mail videos, but I'm going to be honest, a lot of the hate mail is kind of repetitive. But I'm going to go over some questions and such. There's a couple hate mails in here for you guys that you like that kind of thing. Hey, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying. All right, number one. Now, I'm not reading the entire email. I'm only reading, the critical parts of it. Because some of them are kind of long. And, I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy. I like it when you talk to me, you get right to the point.
In case you haven't noticed, there's a culture war going on, and the spoils are the very minds of people we are trying to save. The war on the West is no longer about men or women. It's about the ideological subversion of Western minds by foreign actors cloaked in a public relations-friendly outfit called feminism. Join the fight against the destabilization of our very civilization by reading Surviving Fourth Wave Feminism. Learn some inconvenient truths by clicking on the link in the description, because every time you do, a pansexual non-binary socialist cries.
Let's see. I am shocked that you are speaking at the 21 convention. You are poison and you disgust me. Winning. Obviously, this is a chick. You are destroying America and it needs to stop. Okay, then they go on to talk about the marriage rates are in the fucking toilet. And the birth rates is proof that I'm poisoning America and the Western world. Okay, now I'm going to address this with facts here. We are now in the third generation of men who have been raised by single women. These men have seen their fathers, grandfathers, and possibly their great-grandfathers get their asses handed to them in family court. They've probably watched their fathers come and, try to visit them or when they did visit their fathers, they saw how shitty they were living because they've been turned into wage slaves. The depression and the pain of all of that, I believe it's come to a head, and the snowball is now rolling down the hill, and I had nothing to do with that. That's all feminism right there. The men of today are waking up and realizing they're being stuck to an 1800, early 1900 standard of marriage and the laws that orbit around that, and women are operating in the laws of the 21st century. So that's the equivalent of you going out with Civil War materials, muskets and those black powder rifles and black powder cannons and such, pulled by horses, and going against a modern army with all the modern shit. It's not even a contest. It is so one-sided, it is ridiculous. Okay, and the media is not talking about it, despite the fact that, from my research, 70% of all of the veteran suicides out there, they all had a contact with divorce court or family court, friend of the court, whatever they call it in their particular state. Okay, and men in general are killing themselves at breakneck speed, and everyone is silent about it. The way the contract used to work is men, they're willing to die for their loved ones or their wife. Their wife was willing to die for the children. Now the woman just, kills her children, wrecks the man's life, and is entitled to everything, all the trappings of the Western civilization. And the men are just saying, you know what, I'm not getting married. And to be honest, I can't fault them for that. This is just the logical conclusion to a one-sided beatdown that's been going on for 50 years. So whoever sent me that email, pound some sand, quit blaming me for the woes of the world, and put the blame where it rightfully belongs. Number 2, your Civil War videos are good. I'm glad there is someone out there who can brief all of this craziness to a basic level for the average person. All right, now, I'm going to be honest. I have never been that guy to stand on the sidelines and do nothing, especially when evil, crazy shit is going on. I just cannot. I cannot do nothing. It's just not in my nature. You know, I mean, I'm a tactical thinker, 33 years in the Army, former Green Beret, former Airborne Ranger, former paratrooper, 3 wars under my belt. I was almost killed in 2. You know, I then worked in civil affairs, in intel, and I had my hand in, psyops for a while. So I understand how all of that shit works. All right, now I have friends who are still in, and, I ask them questions. I would never violate their, I would never ask them to violate OBSEC. But, since I worked in the intel community, I know that there are open sources out there floating around that if I'm pointed to them, I can connect the dots because, that's just the way it works. So I did that, I connected the dots, and I did videos in regards to Antifa and how they're organized and how they're using tradecraft, which is basically how spies operate and how insurrections are formed. I talked about BLM in regards to the money they get and their recruitment of the useful idiots that are basically the camouflage for the agitators to do their craziness. And then when the police crack down, it's always, oh no, they're attacking peaceful protesters. I want to be honest. If you go to one of these protests and rocks start to be thrown, it's no longer a protest. It is now devolving into a riot. And you should leave. And if the police come out and say, hey, this is now a riot, you need to disperse, and you don't disperse, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. All right, now in my opinion, the police should be able to use non-lethals against you, pepper spray, CS gas, what have you. Clubs, fists, tasers, dogs, horses, whatever it takes to get you to disperse or be arrested. If this continues to go on and the police get dissolved or there's no one else, they are not going to like what replaces them, because they will not be bound by any of the bullshit that the cops are bound by. Okay, and they're probably going to show up with the rifles and it's going to get ugly on both sides. And I don't want to see that happen. Now, because I do all those videos on Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and the Civil War stuff, I'm gonna tell you this one. This one was from a comment. I get stuff like this periodically. It doesn't really bother me. So it basically says, you piece of shit, you're disrespecting BLM Antifa, and we are coming for you. Does this scare me? Not really. I've been getting, threats of violence against me ever since I started second-class citizen and was fighting against the whole divorce system 12 years ago. I probably have received hundreds of such threats in that amount of time. So, I've had people make complaints while I was working for the Army, and on one of those complaints, the Army sent a colonel from basically public affairs to sit down with me and ask me what the hell I'm doing, and I wasn't violating any laws. I wasn't disrespecting the Army or the government, and it was, basically it was comedy, because comedy is pain and comedy is reality, and true comedies pull forth from you emotional responses, not just laughter. All right, now this is more somebody asking for advice. This was a fairly long email.
My son has been sitting home for the past 2 years. After he graduated high school, he just shut down. What can I do to get him back in the fight and live the best life and be the best person he can be?
Was your son a high performer in high school? Was he a jock, an ace, the alpha guy? And then after high school, he just retired to the basement? Or has he always been an introvert and this is just a ongoing behavior that he had been doing all through high school? Now, you can handle this in several different ways. One, you can file formal paperwork to have him evicted, which is a technique but not the preferred method. You can just sit down and ask him what the fuck is going on and help him unscrew his life that way. Is he suffering from depression? Was there some kind of crazy trauma that caused him to shut down? There's a lot of guys out there who had friends kill themselves or die in high school who do not do well afterwards. Grief and guilt is a horrible thing. There's like a whole bunch of videos in the first year first and second year that I aimed at younger men to try to help them out. Because they're not getting the help in school. They're being denied a good male role model in their life. And a lot of the young men out there, they're getting to the age of 18 and they're getting their manhood by default. And it is screwing with their brain pan. Another good thing you can do is give them my book, The Warrior's Way and Soldier's Soul, where I talk a lot of this craziness that goes on and I use philosophy to address it. And I boil it down so a ninth grader or 10th grader can read it and understand it. That's really all I could say, because I don't have all the variables. Perhaps you can email me the variables of what's going on again, and I can give you a better answer. Now, I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just giving you my opinions, and I have to say that for legal reasons. Number 5.
I'm 24, and I'm not satisfied with my life. I'm thinking of joining the military, and I have a deep feeling of being left behind. What branch and job should I pick?
All right, now I get asked this all the time. All right, now it all depends upon what you want to do. What is your end goal? And you have to be honest with yourself before you do this. Do you want a marketable skill like pipe fitter, HVAC, electrician, plumber, woodworker, machinist, something like that? If that is what you want, then go into the Navy because they offer that stuff. And if you pick up a trade in the Navy and you get out of the military, you can walk into pretty much any trade union and they will pick you up right away and treat you good because they respect veterans. All right, if you want to go in for the action and you want to, live that life, I would highly advise the Army. The Navy and their SEAL program, in my opinion, the washout rate is real high. A lot of guys wash out for the wrong reasons and they wind up getting stuck in positions within the Navy which are terrible. Because after you fail out of that, I've been told that you're basically at the needs of the Navy, and any job you get at the need of the Navy is usually not good. Do not go in the Marine Corps. I was on the ground for the first Fallujah. I did not participate in the actual fighting, but I was involved in, running supplies, food, water, ammunition, and bringing back wounded people and taking them to the cache on Abu Ghraib prison. I also was in the alternate TOC for the entire, for most of the first Fallujah fight. Now, the way it works is they have a primary TOC where the hot, all the bigwigs are calling the shots, and then they maintain an alternate in case they have to fall back, which tracks all the same stuff that they do. You just minus all of the bigwigs. And I was in there and I saw, because they always draw combat lanes through an objective, and the ones that were run by the Marines and the ones that were run by the Army, and at the bottom they tallied all killed and wounded. And the Marines, they took like 30% more casualties. So if you're going to, basically sign up for that, you want to do it with an organization that's going to fight smarter, not harder, and stupider. Because, in my book, I state the color of bravado is blood red. My advice is to enlist is an 11 Bravo with an Airborne Ranger option. Those do come up from time to time. And if you go into the recruiter and they don't have it, you basically check in with them and so forth and tell them you'll wait till it opens up. Or you can go 11 Bravo with the Airborne option. You'll wind up going to the 82nd, which is a very fine unit. I can't really, complain about those guys other than they're just savages. But it is what it is. And once you do 2 or 3 years, either in the regiment or in the 82nd, you'll have all the tools and skills that you need to drop a packet for Special Forces. Do that for a while. Usually when you get to the age of 26 to 30, you can drop a packet for Delta, and you stand a good chance of getting picked up. All right, if that's what you want to do. You're going to have to make these decisions. I'm just being honest with you. And when you go into the recruiters, they're always going to tell you, well, we don't have that, but we have this. Those jobs are needs in the military, needs of the Army jobs. Very rarely are they good. You can listen to what they have. Maybe something like that works for you, like armor or just regular infantry, mortars, artillery. Now they have drones now. And I believe they're opening up a cyber warfare wing. That's another marketable skill you can get into. Just saying, I've gone on too long about this question. Okay, here's another one. 6. I want to thank you. After high school, I was lost. Your videos helped me deprogram the feminist mindset my school and mother hammered into my thinking meat. Good lingo. I now share your channel with my friends and am changing their brain pans as well. Good on you. Because that's why I do this. There's a lot of young guys out there who do not have male role models. And then when they reach the age of 18, 19 years old, they are lost. Because you need to be raised by a mother and a father, which produces a balanced mindset which will allow you to navigate the world. If you're only getting one aspect of that equation, and you get, to the age of 18, 19, you are lost. You're seeking something in the outside world that should be provided in here and here. And that's probably one of the reasons why we have all of these BLM and Antifa people who are younger, middle-class individuals running amok in the streets. Because they are not balanced here, and they have not been guided properly here. I'm just saying. That's just my opinion. I am terrified of the upcoming doom. I hate that word. But, he wrote it, so. I am not a veteran, and in 2019, I was adamantly against guns. Now, I own a shotgun. What can I do to get ready? So, when I read that, this is what I hear. I was a liberal Twinkie. Then I saw the world de-evolve in front of me, and reality didn't match what I was taught. And now, I'm scared. Please help me. All right. Well, first of all, I'm not going to give you any bad advice. I'm not going to lie to you because I don't do that. To get ready for this, I don't know what you do for a living. I don't know what your resources are. Sounds to me you probably were on the liberal side, not making a lot of money, and you were dissatisfied in regards to how that whole thing worked. But you're smart enough to go, hey, this is going haywire. I'm going to get me a 12 gauge or a shotgun. You didn't say what type of shotgun. I'm assuming it was a 12 gauge. Because if you're going to buy a shotgun for, defensive purposes or offensive purposes, it should be a 12 gauge. You're going to need to get a rifle. All right, and I would highly advise you get something in a military caliber, 308, 5.56. All right, also a pistol, 9mm, 45. Oh, if you have to get a revolver, get a 357 because statistically speaking, a 357 has the highest stop rate, one-shot stop rate. All right, you're going to have to train with those. You have to have ammo to do so. In today's day and age, it's very expensive. What you can do as a cheat is you can get the airsoft equivalent of said weapons that you own in the real world, and you can use those to train, drawing, shooting, so forth, target engagements, because that's all muscle memory, and it doesn't matter if you're using real rounds or airsoft pellets. And you can shoot thousands upon thousands of airsoft pellets and get that muscle memory down, and you can do that for like $150. Now, if you're going to do that with actual ammunition, you're going to have, a $500, $1,000 ammunition bill. All right. Now, in my opinion, it's better to train with the real thing, but people are limited by their, the money they have at their disposal. And buying the airsoft weapons, because they have, airsoft weapons that feel like the real thing and have moving parts. They work off green gas, which is really propane with a lubricant in it. And it really does simulate a real firearm. You can get extra mags. You can practice mag changes and stuff. Check it out on YouTube. But that's the best advice I can give for you. You sound like a young man out there, and that's what I'm telling you, man. When I trained my own soldiers in paintball and airsoft, and when they went into the box, they were ready. Number 8.
Why do you not have 1 million subscribers? Your message is spot on and sorely needed. You back it with facts. In today's world, logic and reason is needed. Don't stop. Common sense is a superpower.
All right, now we have been, basically shadow banned by YouTube for a very long time. We've had some community guideline strikes for videos that were backed up with the sources and facts in the descriptions. In my professional opinion, the algorithm is against us for the very fact that I'm providing a message that is sorely needed, and they want to crush me. And right now, the channel is really suffering for funds. That's why we're changing some stuff around. We're going to put together some tutorials and webinars. I'm working on, a man's survival guide where I talk you through the steps on protecting yourself in the era of the Me Too, to include equipment and how to implement that equipment. I'm probably going to put together an actual course on administrative violence to help these men out there fight back against a system that is so one-sided. It is ridiculous and needs to be done. All right, because most people don't realize this government is nothing but layers and layers of bureaucracy. And yes, when you go into divorce court, that bureaucracy is so rigged against you, it's insane. You walk in there with a penis, you are webbed up in that crazy red tape bureaucracy for years. But there are other things you can do. You can engage all kinds of other systems out there anonymously, which can trip up the other side and just make their life incredibly difficult. And I'm going to try to train you guys on how to do that for yourselves, because in my opinion, that would probably save a lot of people's lives. Because most of these people that kill themselves run out of hope, because they don't know the tools or what is at their disposal to fight back. And if you have those tools, that gives you a spark of hope to hold on to, and perhaps you're not going to start your shotgun. All right, we've gone on for over 20 minutes. This is ridiculous. I hope this video helped you guys out and gives you a little bit of insight of exactly what we do here at Redonkulas and why we do things. So I'll talk to you later. Out!